Hi, I'm Monica Breckenridge, owner of Pink Realty,
And I'm Lori Sorrels. I'm a mortgage lender.
and today we're going to talk about what you need to know before you buy your next home. So one thing that you want to consider is when do you want to buy and how soon. If you're wanting to buy a house in the middle of the summer, that's usually busy traffic, lots of buyers are buying during that time, so you may get into a situation where you're having to pay full price for a house, or you may have to go over the asking price. Versus if you're buying in December around Christmas time or during the holidays, you may be able to make an offer lower than the list price and get yourself a better deal. Another thing you need to ask yourself is, are you in a hurry to buy a house? If you're not in a hurry, then you might consider buying a short sale and getting a good deal on the property. If you need to buy a house right away, then you probably want to eliminate a short sale right off the bat. Another thing to consider is what neighborhood do you want to live in. Do some research on the neighborhood, the schools, crime statistics, the HOA dues in those areas. Um, Consider things about how fast homes are selling in the neighborhood. I can pull those statistics up for you as well, because when you get time to resell the house in the future, you want to make sure you're in an area where things are selling and not sitting on the market very long. Once you've looked to those options, you want to definitely get your financing lined up, and that's where Lori comes in.
I do. I do the financing. One of the first things you're going to want to look at is what your credit looks like. What are your credit scores, and how will those affect the financing that you can get? Different scores will relate to different types of financing. For example, conventional financing, you're going to want at least a 660 credit score to be able to get mortgage insurance if you need it. So you're going to need to keep that in mind. If you're doing more government type financing, an FHA type financing, something like that, many lenders have gone to a 620 credit score requirement. Even though FHA itself might require a 580, the lenders themselves have increased that to about a 620 to be able to lend. So keep that in mind. VA doesn't really have a credit score requirement, but they would look at the overall credit to see how it looks. So keep your credit in mind. That would be the first thing you'd want to look at when you're financing. Then you need to figure out how much you qualify for and where you're comfortable making your monthly payments.
Right.
The more you want to put into the home as far as a down payment will determine what you qualify for as well. So keep that in mind.
Right. And then your down payment will is determined by the type of loan that you get
absolutely,
too.
Absolutely. So if you want conventional financing, typically it's a 5% down minimum. Some investors, depending on your credit scores, will require 20% down because you can't get the MI financing if your credit scores aren't up to the 620 level. 3.5% on an FHA, and of course no down payment on a VA loan.
Right. And there's definitely some things that you want to consider before you buy the house and you're in the loan process. There's many things that you don't want to do unless you talk to Lori first to get her approval. Because what could happen is if you do any of these things, we're going to list them off for you, is it could deny your loan if something happened. So some things to consider is don't apply for new credit.
New credit.
Right.
Once you've started the loan process, don't do anything that would allow someone to run your credit report again until you're done.
Yeah. And then don't get any more debt.
Don't increase your debt load.
Right. Make sure all your accounts are
current
and you don't get behind on anything. Don't pay off any collections.
Or don't pay off any collections or judgment accounts unless I tell you to.
Seems like the opposite of what most people would think. You think that that would help, but
many
in
times
reality,
it might reduce a credit score if you do that in advance. So make sure that you consult.
Yep. Don't take out any large deposits other than your standard payroll.
If you make large deposits into your bank account, we have to verify where those funds come from, because one of the requirements of lending is sourcing and seizing of your funds. So make sure you don't make any large deposits that we would have to track.
Another thing is don't make any large purchases.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're buying that new house and they've got that new driveway and they need to do that new car to go inside that driveway. So let's not do that until after you close.
Right. And if there's a situation where your car breaks down and you do need to buy one right away, we've had situations get approved where you just talk to Lori first.
Yeah, talk to me so I can make sure we can put that into your debt ratios and the deal still works.
Another thing that's very important, don't change your job.
Yeah, don't quit.
So once we get the loan approved, now it's time to start looking for a house, and we want to write down what your needs are, want to have, and your needs. So there's a difference. And when we go out looking for houses, bring a notebook and a camera because you want to write down notes
Really
on
good
the
idea.
listing, and you want to take photos to remind yourself because some things when you're looking at the listing, you're just looking at the marketing photos. So if you want to look at something that you want to remember later, you want to make sure you bring your camera with you or take a picture of something that wasn't included in the listing. That way you can go back to it. But as a result, we are here to help you, whether buying a house, selling a house, and Lori's here to work with you on getting a loan. So we look forward to working with you.